Welcome back to the Pot of Greed.
Welcome back, indeed, folks. I just want to start this podcast out before anything else by thanking everybody that we met this past weekend at Anime NYC.
Yes, thank all of you.
Yeah,
There
we
was
met a
way
lot of
more of you
people.
than I expected.
Yeah, I know there were a lot of fans, maybe more than past years, and people recognized us when we got to shake hands and take pictures and just chat, talk. It was fun.
I
A lot
mean,
of
it
good.
felt like we were bumping into fans literally the moment we stepped into the airport to get to New York, and then ever since.
Yeah, a lot of good Yu-Gi-Oh cosplay as well. And also, a lot of people, in addition to being APS fans, were talking about the Pot of Greed. Like they were saying, they really enjoy the podcast. They love listening every week. It's like part of their schedule.
That was actually awesome. One person looked Alex dead in the face and told him I love the pod, and I was like, huh, okay.
Well, I mean, hopefully he'll be able to be on the pod one day soon. I know some people still call you Alex, and some people still call him Alec, and
One
I
person was
know.
trying to figure out who I was. They went to Larry, and I was like, okay, I'll take that. Like, at least it didn't go Chris.
Yeah, people used to think that you were Larry sometimes, like back when we were doing a lot of Larry in the
Yeah.
Holes. Which,
Yeah,
speaking of that, I did do a Larry in the Hole-esque video at Anime NYC. I
like a
was
poor man's Larry in the hole.
Diet Larry in the Hole. I was looking for packs and trying to get
Vegan
money.
Larry in the
Vegan
hole.
Larry in the Hole. To be clear, by the way, I'm not trying to like replace that. I think he does a much better job at the whole pack opening and making it entertaining thing. I was just doing it because
We
of
were just
football.
trying to find some cool content we could shoot out there, and we saw that there were Yu-Gi-Oh packs being sold, and we were like, well, what if we give ourselves a budget and let's see what happens?
I will say, I think there were actually fewer places selling Yu-Gi-Oh packs. Maybe even fewer places
Bruh.
selling cards in general, but definitely Yu-Gi-Oh
No,
packs.
man. Cards were in full force if you were Pokemon or One Piece. But if
Yeah,
you were
okay.
Yu-Gi-Oh, whew,
Yeah. Yeah, I always fear like, that feeling that, a lot more vendors are taking Yu-Gi-Oh like kind of off their shelves or like they'll have it, but it'll be much more tucked away or,
so
like a
Yu-Gi-Oh
singles binder.
has a very strange problem. I think Yu-Gi-Oh has the most general and casual fans of any card game around. However, I think like shop owners and vendors have found you can't take Yu-Gi-Oh cards to these general casual places and actually expect sales. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of mixed on that because I think that Pokemon's probably got more like super general fans than
I
Yu-Gi-Oh
don't
does,
know,
and
man.
and I think that Magic probably has more active casual players than Yu-Gi-Oh
Maybe
does.
active casual, but I think if we count our dormant casual players who haven't played in 5 years or ten
Then yes,
years, I think we got them all beat.
but then
I,
that's
I
worrying because it's
the
like,
sheer amount of
what is
people who
that
tell
saying?
me they used to play Yu-Gi-Oh is insane.
I know that's another thing that these conventions always remind me about is like just how many people I'll talk to and they'll be like, yeah, like I watch your videos, I love your videos. I don't actually play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, but I still kind of like keep up here and there. And there's a lot of people that do feel like they just Yu-Gi-Oh's kind of passed them by in some way. Like I made a video actually. I'm gonna probably be uploading it. It should be on Amplifier by the time you guys are hearing this podcast. Where I was just asking some players in the gaming room that they had, which was cool by the way. There's a little tabletop and general gaming area. I was asking people, like, what's your kind of relationship with Yu-Gi-Oh right now? And for a lot of people, they were just like, I kind of play here and there. I've sort of fallen out of love with like really trying to like actively keep up, or I quit for One Piece was what somebody said, and some people were complaining about the price or like Banlist things. So it was a little sad in that way. But
Well, you've just reminded me. I have a Yu-Gi-Oh story for today that kind of hits on that.
okay, well, I guess shout outs again just to everybody that we met at the convention. Those are always fun. It's always great to meet you guys.
Yes.
I'll actually treat that as the like review for the week. Was just hearing people's praises at the
Yeah,
that event.
in-person reviews.
Yeah, we will continue to try to improve the pod. We are always working behind the scenes on new things for it. They just take time to come to fruition, but they will. They will. Anywho, great. I guess we can actually get into the Yu-Gi-Oh news.
Yugi news. What you got?
Not much,
Oh,
because we're still waiting on a ban list. Like,
I was really hoping we'd be able to talk about the ban list on this
I was,
pod.
yeah, I was really expecting there to be one this week in particular because like this is kind of the last week of August. Now, it might be out by the time you guys are listening to this. We are
which is
recording it.
super annoying.
Yeah, we are recording this on Wednesday morning, and so you guys will presumably be listening on Thursday morning, and so, you know, that's enough time for it to happen. I think people were expecting it to come out on Monday, but it didn't happen. Tuesday, it didn't happen. So, like, here we are. It could happen. I don't know.
You would think, being Konami apologists and lapdogs, that we would just know when it would come out, right?
Yeah,
That's
you think
our,
that
our
Konami
Konami contact would
they
just
would have
told
sent me
us.
the text message saying like, yeah, Paul, like, here it is. Here's the date. No,
Just be at your
I
computer. What? Why? And it just says be at your computer.
I think so. Just to talk about this a little bit, even though it's technically a non-news thing, but I think that them announcing even a banlist window like this, like kind of saying end of August, might have just been a mistake. I mean, I don't want to call it a mistake. Like it's fine that they did it. I just think that the backlash that they're seeing right now is so high. Like I've seen people on Twitter really malding about this. Like, yeah.
It's. I don't think it would have been that bad if they didn't wait until the end of their window.
I mean, but it
Because
does
like
fit within the window they said. Like they
it
said late
does,
August. So
it fits within the window. But if they were planning on just waiting until the end of their window, they could have just shrank the window. I don't think you should give a large window if you really only intend to release within a much smaller window.
yeah, I saw somebody online saying that this is actually the longest format that we've had since they changed to the like no sooner than system or something like that.
Really?
So yeah, like we're currently almost at like 5 months on this format, which is yeah, like 4.5 or 5 months, and so that's typically like we're looking at something closer to three.
But wait,
So this is going a
technically the
bit long.
format changed. Fiendsmith showed up and they changed everything.
Well, ban list changed, but Fiendsmith did change a lot. I mean, I at this point I'm kind of beyond even. I don't want to say beyond caring about this ban list, but it's kind of for me. It's more like I think we just have to like we're doing that thing as a community again that I always worry about, and I know this will be long forgotten when the list actually comes out, but where we pin all of our hopes and dreams onto this ban list.
Depending
Like,
on the ban list to make the game fun again.
yeah, exactly. Like, depending on this ban list to be the magic medicine to all of our woes with Yu-Gi-Oh! When in reality, like, time and time again, Konami has proven that they are not incompetent with their ban lists, but they will not ever meet your expectations with them either. It'll always just be some choices you agree with, some choices you don't, some things that were excluded that like you feel have plagued this game for years and are, long overdue. But it'll never be like the magic bullet, right, to like fix
Especially
everything.
since their goal with the ban list and your goal for the ban list are different. But they're the ones making it.
Yeah, and just their perspective on the game is always going to be different. It brings me back to that whole thing I always say, which is just like sometimes you kind of gotta like find some joy in this game outside of the state of a format, which I know is difficult, and like it should be on Konami to make playing seem fun anyway. But like I don't know, I don't want
I
people, I
mean,
don't want this list to come out and people to kind of have that temporary kind of relief type of thing, but then realize that we're still going to probably have to deal with some annoying hand traps and some long combos and the power creep thing. You know what I mean?
because if you think about it, Fiendsmith will still be here when this ban list hits tomorrow, the day after, on the 31st. Fiendsmith will still be here, and you're gonna be upset, right? Like there's no way around it.
Yeah, I mean,
You just won't be happy.
I remember I went to a card shop week before last, just hanging out at locals, and there was somebody who was just like, yeah, like this format's like ruined. They need to like this ban list needs to like ban these things. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, like I don't know. Sometimes I like they'll hit Snake Eye, like that's pretty much a given. But does it necessarily, like mean that Yu-Gi-Oh is saved when the design philosophies present in Snake Eye are slowly creeping their way into a lot of
Every deck.
archetypes now? So, and I don't know. Maybe that's like too like a weirdly doomer take, but like I don't know. It just we'll see, right? We'll see.
We are certainly living in a time, and we have been for the last what year are we on? 26. So we'll say that this like for the last 26 years, it's kind of just been like this.
Yeah. Either
The
way, I mean,
ban
I look
list
forward
is
to
our
it.
god.
I will even be checking Twitter as we record, because maybe at the very end of the podcast, the ban list will just drop, and
All
that'll
right, guys, we're going
be
for another hour.
yeah, we're going for another hour. So I don't know. We'll see, but hopefully the list comes out soon. I guess it'll have to be soon, and that's all I can say.
Yeah, hey, at least before September.
That would be really funny if it's like August 31st at like 11:59. I
And
just
they
think that
get
would
it
be
out just in
hilarious.
time. Like I
Yeah,
think that
they
would be
just pay
cruel,
us.
and like if they are trolling the community, that would be sick. I would not be pleased.
I mean, listen, they're getting more social media engagement,
Yeah, but
so that's a
like
win.
it's like poking a pit bull with a stick when it's already angry.
Yeah. One last thing I'll say about that is it's a pit bull with a stick, but it's also like, what's the pit bull going to do? Like, what are people? Because I know the people that are like mulling over this ban list on Twitter and like Facebook and stuff aren't actually gonna quit. Like, they want Konami to know that they want this list, but the moment that the list drops, they'll be like, these are people that aren't
So
going anywhere.
it's kind of like that meme where they ask like, "Does your dog bite?" It's like, and they say, "No, it hurts in other ways." So we're not gonna quit, but next time like a Konami rep gets on social media, they might catch all the like hard R's and slurs that can be found in the dictionary. Like,
Yeah, players always manage to take it too far, but
well, I mean, that's what you
yeah.
cause when the Yu-Gi-Oh community turns into this like powder keg, and there seems to be no alleviation in sight, save a ban list, and we just repeat this cycle again and again and again. Like people aren't
It's
gonna like you very
Yeah,
much.
it's very like intermittent. Anyway, okay, whatever. I was gonna make a comparison to like kind of abusive relationships, but we'll just move on.
I think
So,
it's been done.
yeah. So, any other Yu-Gi-Oh news that you've seen?
So no news exactly, but I did see this Reddit post on our Yu-Gi-Oh, and it
Okay.
it it was a pretty interesting question. It just reads, "Is Yu-Gi-Oh too optimized?"
Too optimized. That is an interesting one. Okay, so
Yeah. So
what's their?
this is a Reddit post by Millennium Puzzled. Sounds like
I
someone
like
who
their
asks a lot of
name.
questions. All right. So I was on some video game subreddits when I stumbled upon one talking about how a co-op game had stopped being fun because players had figured out the quote unquote right way to play it. And while it's clearly a natural process and nobody did anything wrong to get there, it felt like a lot of the creativity was gone. Someone gave a quote that really got me thinking. Gamers will often optimize the fun out of a game. It kind of just hit me how applicable that feels to Yu-Gi-Oh from my personal perspective. It's a longer post than that, but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
read all that because I think we can talk just off of that.
Yeah. So I think that's true. I mean, sorry. I think that yes, Yu-Gi-Oh has been very highly optimized. The expectation in general right now is kind of that like when decks even release, they've at least the basic combos and lines and stuff have sort of been labbed, and there's also an emphasis in within modern Yu-Gi-Oh of like pushing your combo as far as you can because there's rarely any drawback in not keeping your foot on the gas. Like if you've got extenders, you kind of just keep using the extenders and you go until like your board is the very best it can be because it's really not even a guarantee that you'll get a next turn, and so it's in your best interest to do so. So yeah, I mean, I think. What do you think?
So I want to take it a step further. I think the internet kind of ruined card games, like trading card games.
Oh, spicy take.
I think card games were never meant to be this optimized for this many people. So Yu-Gi-Oh had rules, and it had like a set. There's a there well there wasn't a deck size limit at one point, but we had a deck size minimum, and we had 3 ofs only. There were certain rules in place in Yu-Gi-Oh, but I don't think it was intended that these rules would have to always be strictly enforced with 100% of the population. When early card games, I don't think they really expected for the majority of their player base to be maxing, through getting three of copies of every relevant card for a deck or strategy. You know, like cards were printed like secret rare and they were hard to obtain. I think in their minds at the time they thought, yeah, a player might have one of these. Yeah,
Right.
the cap is three, but like they shouldn't be able to get three, and why would they want to? But
Yeah.
here comes the internet, and people start looking at what wins events that they're not even at, but they can see like what's winning and what these competitive players are doing, and that information is spreading at such a fast rate. And there's no reason to play, what we call like playground Yu-Gi-Oh anymore, because now we all know what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I think yeah, there's something to be said about that. I mean, it this is maybe taking too much of a rose-tinted goggles or maybe too much of like an anime interpretation of it. But when you think about like how Yu-Gi-Oh kind of worked in the world of Duel Monsters, and I know this isn't related to the real life card game directly, but like it's sort of an inspiration, is the idea that like players kind of or duelists were original. They had their original deck that like represented them, and it was kind of the sum of their choices and cards to include and strategies to go for, and what risky cards they were willing to play or what trump cards they're going to put in, or like all these things. And like the only real, like it's kind of implied that I guess there was something like the internet in Domino City, right? But it doesn't really come up a bunch. It's just like, oh, this player is highly ranked. Like this is a regional champion, or like this is the so and so champion. But it was always kind of suggested that their strategy was their own. And like Bandit Keith's machine deck, Weevil Underwood's like insect deck. He's like Rex is like the Dino duelist, and it wasn't
Those
about.
decks weren't even optimized,
Yeah, it's
right?
like, or maybe you could argue that they had optimized them in their heads, but like only Rex was playing Rex's optimal dinos, or only Weevil was playing Weevil. Like, maybe you know what I mean? Like, it's
Right. But then you have to ask, like, why weren't they running more than one copies of their best cards?
yeah. And I guess plot reasons aside, I think that there was an implication that like that was either due to card rarity, like availability, like oh, like only there's only like one insect queen, or only a few, and only a few duels have it, or like maybe it's just a decision, like a personal decision that people kind of made. Like I don't know. To bring it back to the TCG though, I think that you're right about like the internet sometimes making it feel like everybody knows everything about like an archetype or like a theme just on release, and the information spreads like wildfire, and so you don't get that time gap where like people are still figuring things out. Pretty much when the set releases, we know what's up.
Like we know not to bother with one offs and two ofs of cards that are meant to be at a three of. Now, old Yu-Gi-Oh didn't design cards to actually be run at three of. There were some bad cards that like floated into themselves, but for the most part, they weren't designed with you running three copies of this card in your deck. That's why things didn't have like hard once per turns on them, and one card would have such a huge effect like Dark Hole, Raigeki, Duster. You can run three copies of these cards, but they were clearly designed to be like a one-off thing that's really powerful. And that was they never thought that so many people would get to a point where they're like, yeah, I'm running three of all these powerful cards because why wouldn't I?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there was just less punishment for not running three. Maybe it's even a way I would put it. Like where I think it was designed so, like they knew that you could like three was going to be the cap and stuff like that. But if you're a kid and you only have like one Mystic Tomato, it was like it was fine. I guess like the margin of error was
I think
larger.
it was an expectation that the percentage of players that would have the ability and means to do so would be a lot smaller than what it ended up becoming. I think, they were like, yeah, at our competitive tournaments, players will have these optimized decks and all three of everything. But the vast majority of our player base will just be playing with whatever they can pull out of their packs. And that was true for a time.
Right.
It
I
definitely
agree.
changed.
I mean, and I think the last thing I would say on it, it would probably just be that like, it's another one of those times where I think like alternate formats, which I know we talk about this like every week, would probably help out a lot because it would give some application to the cards you don't pay so much attention to, and then that way it like, there would be a new format to solve. Will it eventually get solved? Like, sure, probably, whatever. Modern gaming, that's just how stuff is. But I do think that at least if there was like an alternative to advanced where card pools were more seriously limited, or like, things were in place to really change the power level or like the objective of how a duel is supposed to play out, then we could at least maybe recapture some of that. Like some of that feeling of like, okay, creative expression as opposed to just like, okay, well, there's no reason not to run through Snake Eye Ash, dumbass. You know what I mean?
Now, Millennium Puzzle goes on to say that they believe Konami has done most of the optimizing themselves nowadays with one
True.
card combos and consistent instant board combos, means creating a tier 0 format now is incredibly easy to do. So what they're saying is that now Konami is doing all the optimizing for us. They find the combos, and it's we just employ them now.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
really
yeah.
not on us to
100%.
optimize anymore.
100%. 100%. Like, I don't even have anything to add to that. I mean, I think that's just true. Like, the combos, the cards are kind of designed to, Ash gets Poplar, it summons itself, it gets OSS, and like OSS gets like it's very. I don't think a player had to really figure much of that out. So,
Because
in
at
that
one
way, I guess
point that
it's
it was on us, right? At one point, people just did actually have to lab combos.
that's
One
actually
card combos were not really a thing.
yeah, I would like a return to two card combos. I've been hearing that sentiment more and more in the community. Is like, sometimes I'm playing Master Duel a lot. I've been preparing for the Shadow Duelist tournament, which by the way I'm going to be playing in like literally right after we finish recording this.
Hey,
But like like lots of decks now. Whenever decks get new support, like an old deck getting new support or a new deck coming out, the cards streamline the process so tidily that it almost feels like
your deck plays itself.
like your deck can sort of play itself, or like cards will have a condition that needs to be met, and they meet the condition themselves to the extent that it's like the Poplar, like the Snake Eye Ash Poplar thing. It's like when Poplar's added to your hand, it summons itself, and conveniently there's a card that just adds it to your hand, and it's sort of like there was never a you know there's never like a worry that like it somehow won't be getting to do that, or that you will have to do
Right.
the leg, like you don't have to really do so much of the legwork. And I don't know. I mean, that's anyway. Yeah, just yeah.
But I'm gonna send you the link because there's a lot of because they go on to say more, and people have some very long written takes here that I think you and our audience will personally enjoy.
Yeah. So that would be good. I mean, I'll try to include that then, because I do think that's a pretty poignant take, even if it sounds like just a complaint. But I agree with it. So
Yeah, because there's a lot I think about this point in general. A lot of its reach is about card game design and and modern card games, but optimization in card games. Yeah, we all at one point we all were looking to play in the most optimized manner we could, and then at some point, I'm not sure exactly when, the cards were already optimized, and we just had to follow along.
right, yeah, I agree. I mean, I would also make the comparison to like fighting games. I follow Smash, as you guys know, and like when Smash Ultimate, for instance, first came out, people didn't exactly know how to play the game, and they hadn't optimized combos. But as the gaming, like as the metagame develops, combos do become more optimized, and you'll take more damage per interaction or per opening. And so now it's like a lot more scary to get hit by that one combo story that character has, because you might take like 60% from it, and because people have labbed that, but like that wasn't known in the first year or two of the game. So
Right. But I guess the
any
difference between that and what we have in Yu-Gi-Oh is the characters don't just like link the combos for you. You still have to like actually do it yourself.
execute. Well, anyway, I've got a couple of really quick like miscellaneous Yu-Gi-Oh things, I guess, to end us off.
Okay.
I don't know if we talked about this, but the Malice, or Alice in Wonderland kind of Malice Cyber archetype did get its proper name. It's just Malice, Maliss.
I hate it.
In Crossover Breakers, a lot of people are kind of disappointed in that. They were hoping that they would somehow
There's
translate over the.
there was no point to do that. I don't unless you can if they can find some type of theme or symbolism to to using the double S instead of ICE. I
Yeah.
think that's once again a horrible name.
Yeah, it actually reminds me of like the opposite of when they changed when they Ogdoadic used to be Abyss or something like that.
Oh
Like it's like kind of
yeah.
a play on like a hiss of a snake, but anyway, there's
But
a Nor
Ogdoadic means something snake-like, right?
yeah, it's like based in something
At least it
real,
means
but
something.
it's a kind of more awkward name. Now, here's the actual interesting part about Crossover Breakers. So it's gonna, like most deck builder sets, contain 60 cards. There are 10 ultras and 10 supers. There are
Okay.
also 40 rares, like how they usually go. But here's the
Yeah.
difference. Half of the rares in the set are also available as super rare upgrades. And then, of course, 15 cards.
What?
And then, of course, 15 cards are available as collector's rare. And there are going to be some additional cards that are also available as quarter century secret rares. But that's just typical for the 25th anniversary. The main thing, though, is that whole some rares can be upgraded to super rares.
So, and I'm guessing so. It's one rare per. I mean, one super rare per pack, right?
Yeah, like one foil per pack, I think, is the.
Oh, what? Yeah, one foil per pack. I forget we're using these types of rules. So there is a chance that your super in a pack, and the supers are a set card pool, can just be an upgraded rare.
Sounds like it.
That's sick. That is absolutely sick.
Sick as in good or sick as in bad?
Depends on your perspective, I guess. For me, bad because that just sounds like you have even more packs that are kind of duds.
Yeah, my question is, does the super replace the foil spot? And it sounds like it does. And if that's the case, then like I don't know if that sounds very good.
Because like I don't think that
Like
messes up your well no it your box ratio of
your
of
box
what
ratios are
foils
fine.
you should get is fine, but then it makes collecting the supers that you want, that makes it a lot, it makes it a bit more difficult. And
Some
like
okay,
if you're a max rarity kind of guy, being able to get some of your rares and supers is cool, but that just makes it all harder for everyone.
I mean, I guess the glass half full approach to this or take on this would be that it's kind of it feels maybe a little OCG inspired, where it's like, hey, okay, you can get cards in multiple rarities, so you can get it as a cheap rare or you can get it as a super. This is a very small step towards that. Like, I don't think that supers are seen in super high regard, but
I mean,
it's kind of cool.
super rares are cool, and like getting your rares bumped into super is, yeah, that's a cool bump in a lot of cases. However, it's in the same set that the rare was released. Like if I want to, if usually when we get rares bumped up, it's in a new set, but we're getting optional rarity upgrades in the set itself.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to make the pack opening experience a bit more annoying unless you're
Yeah.
opening up enough product where you're guaranteed to see all the cards you want and all the rarities you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that this is just an opportunity for them to, I guess, make more new cards into supers that like wouldn't have otherwise that would have otherwise been made as rares. Like perhaps there's something in that. I'm not really sure. This will just have to be one of those like when the set comes out and people just start opening it, like just see what they chose to put as alternate supers.
Because I mean, I know that the Ryziel archetype has done some good things in China in their format. So I know people will be pulling for that. I know we're very excited about Malice out here, so people will be pulling for that.
Ryuge or whatever, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I don't
But
know about those other things, but
they might end up okay. Like
like
who's to
we'll
say?
see. There'll be a lot of opening going on just so that people can get their decks ready for whatever this format's going to look like.
So, well, next piece of news then. We've gotten a few more tin reveals just as time has gone on. Nothing major, a couple more alternate arts. There's this Raigeki and limiter removal alternate arts. Have you seen these?
Oh, I've seen the Raigeki. What about limited removal?
Limiter
I
removal.
didn't see that.
I'll toss it into the chat. But Yeah, it's basically just another kind of take on Cyber and Dragon.
Oh, I do remember this. I'd just forgotten.
Yeah, very cool. They've also announced a couple of really neat reprints. Like Bonfire is going to be in the tins, which is exciting for a
Yeah,
lot of
that's good.
players who.
That's good. Oh boy, Snake Eye about to get hit.
Yeah, Snake Eyes getting hit hard, but it's cool though because it means like Bonfire itself will probably be remaining at 3, which I never thought it needed to be limited or anything. But like this is good because there were also a lot of people who play Volcanics and decks like that, like very casually, and they just were
Yeah.
not able to get Bonfires because it was like really expensive. I mean, it had come down from the like $100 on release thing, but it was still a card that was like like 20, $30, I think, if I'm correct. So
I mean, and Bonfire is just going to be a useful card for a lot of decks going forward, especially since Konami seems to be no longer afraid of printing fire monsters. So
yeah, yeah. And also the 275th YCS, YCS Leal, I believe. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's going to be 275th YCS, and there's actually an exclusive mat for that has the Raigeki Slifer the Sky Dragon as the like
oh, I
one of the
saw
prize wall
that.
mats.
I bet in real life. I bet that looks gonna look nice.
In addition to also having the Spell Card Monster Reborn and Spell Card Soul Exchange mat for people who just get it. This is a check-in mat for the main event. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen those. I have not seen those.
Okay. Yeah, I just sent it to you. It's just the one that's got like Dark Magician and Blue Eyes, but it's got like their cards kind of being played or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So some really cool mats. I don't know. I just thought that it'd be neat.
I especially like the participation mat. I think while yes, it's just two card artworks put together, it actually makes for a very dynamic looking mat. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this one.
Yeah, there's one last story that like I'm really upset that I didn't. I don't think I bookmarked this, but I saw this really cool story that was from. It was either Wygo Pro Deck or like another one of these websites where they were highlighting the players that had qualified for Worlds and that were going to be competing in Worlds. And it was like this article that just kind of like said, okay, like where each player's from, what they got their Worlds invite with, and things like that. Because there's going to be a total of 28 players at Worlds, and they did the first 14 players. My assumption is probably that they'll be finishing that up if they haven't already. I just couldn't find the article in time. If I can find it, I'll try to link it. But the reason I wanted to talk about this was, or not really talk about it, but just to give them a nod because Konami isn't doing this. And I've always felt like this is something that they should do because one of the biggest issues with Worlds, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds to me, is that you never really know very much about the players. Like, I feel like the players aren't celebrated very much. Like, you'll see them playing in the feature matches and stuff, and like, you'll see who the winner is and all. But I guess it would be nice to add a little bit more context, like who's representing, this country, who's representing this country, and
Make it into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Olympics
kind of like,
or the
yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
like
World Cup.
what's their story? How did they get here? Like, what decks they like and stuff. So I don't know. I think this is something that Konami could maybe take some cues from, really.
You know what would be cool if the country that wins Worlds, if in that country specifically, they they release like specific World sleeves for that country, the winning country.
Oh, that would be neat.
Because then it will give people a reason to root for their hometown favorite. They probably already were, but it gives them an even bigger reason to do it.
Yeah. So just wanted to shout that out. I think that actually is all the Yu-Gi-Oh news I've got, unless you've got
No, that I didn't have anything.
some stuff. Yeah, like I said, not a lot, no ban lists, so it's just kind of been a little up. Oh, okay. Here's something super strange. This is like a quick one. Have you seen? And I don't know if this is just like the Yu-Gi-Oh TCG page just trolling at this point. I don't know, but they have content creators, like sponsored content creator videos, that are opening legendary dragon decks. Do you remember this product?
The legendary dragon decks.
Yes, from like 2018.
They're doing that
Like,
now.
yeah, so you know how like earlier this year, it might have been like, or late last year or whatever, they like re-released Yugi's like Legendary Decks 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
this is like another. This is like the sequel to that or whatever, where it's like Legendary Dragon decks from like 2017 or
Yeah,
something.
2017.
And yeah, and they are like having content creators open this reprinted box.
No way.
Yeah,
No
here
way.
I'm gonna send you the link to this because like it's just very, it's so bizarre. And again, there's also during the week leading up to this hopeful Banlist announcement, so it's obviously pisses players off even more. But I guess it's not that strange. They seem like they're just going on this kind of retro kick of just redoing a lot of these popular products. I
Interesting.
suppose like
So
there
it's
must be.
specifically an EU thing.
Sounds like it, yeah. Like it might just be only being released in Europe, or maybe it's also gonna just kind of show up at card shops. Don't really know.
Is there a chance that this product wasn't properly released in Europe in the first place?
That's possible.
Because it does seem strange that they'd be doing this now.
Yeah, it's a really weird timing, but I saw it. It's there, and it also reminds me there is one other bit of news.
What you got?
Retro Pack released this past week, but the Retro Pack reprints, which we wanted to get our hands on to do some like Retro Pack draft sort of videos. Still planning on trying to do that,
Have not been
but
lucky so far.
yeah, I was gonna ask if I don't know if you've gotten a chance to like go to a Walmart or anything, but they're apparently pretty hard to find. People are scalping them.
Of course they are.
Yeah, no, they're only sold in those like 4-pack for $18 things at Walmart or like 17.99 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's only in retail stores. Then I heard that apparently some very select OTS shops got traditional boxes of them, like 24-pack boxes, but like very
Wow.
few. And I was
Favoritism.
looking online. Apparently, Walmart pre-orders were like sold out or something. GameStop allows you to pre-order them, but now they're also price gouging it. Like GameStop is like they're like 24.99 when they're supposed to be like 17.99
Gotta love GameStop.
because they know there's demand. So yeah, just kind of a difficult product to get for players to get their hands on, and I think that's a shame because like it's retro pack. Come on, like
It would have been a nice set that to be accessible since there are a lot of casual Yu-Gi-Oh players and players of like GOAT and other formats where those cards have some real use.
yeah. So I guess I'll be keeping my eyes peeled if I can
I will
find
too.
a copy or two. It looks like I might just have to like resort to eBay and paying like $30 per box, but I'm gonna get my hands on them. So
One way or another.
okay, that's actually all the Yu-Gi-Oh. Any other card game things?
So now we can talk about my favorite card game.
Okay,
Currently. The Digimon TCG got an update to their ban list.
yeah. Funny, it seems like I think
And
like every card game got an update except Yu-Gi-Oh so far.
yeah, it feels like it was ban list season for everybody, and Yu-Gi-Oh is just they're fashionably late.
Right. Yeah.
So, quick thing about the Digimon format: we have been besieged by faster gameplay than what we're used to in Digimon for quite a while. A lot of it because of a pesky Digimon named Ukomon, who allows you to just push up rookies out of your raising area like over and over again, much faster than other decks. The speeding up the tempo at which they can attack your security. And one of the main decks that made use of it, Numamon, was very dominant in the last format, and they were poised to keep doing that until this list came out. So, nothing too crazy. This isn't like a conditional restricted list like we saw in the past, where they banned like a certain pair of cards from being ran together. This is a very standard list. So Ukomon went to one, and they said this card was intended to be used with the Louis Owada Tamer card. That's its Tamer in the movie, and the cards working together gave you both memory, consistency, and speed. And decks that were able to take advantage of them had a very big leg up in the format. Now, to be fair, this hit is mostly for the Japanese format, where New Ukomon had well overstayed its welcome. Here we've had it for a little bit. We haven't had it for as long, but I mean it was still running our format, so I'm glad to see Ukomon go to 1 and Louis Iwata go to 1. Just kind of cutting down on the aggression and consistency that those decks had. Hammer Spark, a very old from Star Deck 2 option card, that it's going to 1 as well. Hammer Spark had one effect, Paul. You know what it said?
What?
Gain 1 memory. It costs 0 memory to play.
Oh, so even just something as minimal as that, which to me sound, I don't know the basics of Digimon, so that
It's
sounds,
just a pure extender, Just gain a
yeah.
memory. If 1 memory is the difference between you making a play and you not making a play, or choking your opponent at 1 memory, Hammer Spark has always been very useful in blue decks. It is going to 1, and I'm glad for it because only blue has a card quite like this. A card that has no cost to it, and it just purely gains you memory. I'm
Okay.
glad to see it go to 1. Blue, we're in a kind of a blue format right now where the blue decks are kind of kicking everybody's butts, and I don't think it's changing, but this helps. This helps. So a card I predicted to go to 1 that did desperately need to go to 1 was Awakening of the Golden Knight. This is a Magnamon card. It specifically lets any of your armored Digimon digivolve into a Magnamon X antibody. And Magnamon X antibody has been a very polarizing Digimon because it's a bit like we always call it the towers of Digimon. It's a Digimon that can be unaffected by all effects, and through some trickery, you can keep reusing its effect to remain unaffected for turn after turn after turn. It's a giant Digimon. It's a blocker. It can unsuspend itself, so it can attack twice. And it was being abused in the Vmon armor deck, which that's where he's supposed to be abused, but also the yellow vaccine armor deck, which was not supposed to be able to use it, but because you can play Golden Rapidmon in that deck, Awakening of the Golden Knight is a yellow card. You can just mash this whole thing together for an unholy nightmare that I played quite a bit.
I'm being made so keenly aware of how jargony card games sound from the outside. Like I literally have no idea like what you're talking about, and I'm just like,
That's because you don't pay attention.
well, I just don't play Digimon. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter, by the way, but just like I'm just like, man, I don't know what these cards are, what these decks are.
I'm talking to the people that know.
Yeah. This is more for people, the Digimon people.
Yeah,
Anyways,
we saw Numamon X go to 1. I talked about Numamon before. Numamon was originally a joke Digimon. It was poop, literally and figuratively. And the deck was all about just rushing your opponent down and then triggering your on deletion effects to get more poop on the board. Very simple, very straightforward, but when it got Numon X and it got Ukomon, the deck was able to stick around. That's a terrible way to put it. A deck about poop, but yeah, the deck could just it could rush, lose all its bodies, replace its bodies, and keep doing it, and then it could build like terrifying boards of just DP removal and just massive amounts of attacks. The deck was a problem. Numon X was a problem. It's gone to 1, severely limiting that deck's consistency, and I'm glad to see it. A card that I wasn't glad to see hit 1, but I understand, was TK Takaishi from BT14. This TK was one of the best yellow cards ever printed because you could play it for 3. It would take a card from your security. You could place a vaccine from your hand into your security. And then TK said, if a card got added to your security, gain 1 memory. So TK's first effect would always trigger its second effect, so you could effectively play TK for 2. And then that second effect could be used every turn. So every time you played a new TK, you would gain more and more memory back. So the TKs allowed yellow vaccine decks to really ramp up on their memory gain. And you're already playing that with Magnamon X, who stays unaffected by things, and you have all this DP removal built into the strategy of that deck. It was just a little bit obscene, just a little bit. And so my
okay.
boy TK had to go to 1, which at least for now will severely hamper the yellow vaccine decks. We had one card came off of our list. It was Star Deck 6 Gabumon, who is not a very impressive card. It has a one attacking effect to draw one and then trash one card out of your hand. When it got limited, there was an expectation that because this card didn't have a once per turn, Purple was going to get a lot of Digimon that could attack multiple times, triggering its drawing and trashing effect multiple times in a turn, setting up your trash for big combo plays, and just enabling aggression. So they went ahead and they hit him to 1, and we kind of just stopped using our boy. But he's back now. He's back to 4. And Purple finally got a ban list where we didn't lose a card, but we gained a card.
Okay.
That's really all there is to say about the cards that got hit. The blue format sadly will continue because Imperial Dramon and their blue green deck is quite powerful, and it didn't see any hits on this list. The Ancient Garurumon deck was running Ukomons in it, but I still think that deck's going to be just as dominant without the Ukomons. Well, not just as. It'll be pretty dominant, but it just won't be as fast. And
Yeah.
Mirage Galgamon, which was the blue deck before all of this other blue stuff, has never seen a hit a day in its life. So it's probably going to be pretty good, But
Okay.
hey, I'm
Great.
excited. I'm excited to play Digimon again. On my last video talking about Digimon, there were a lot of people complaining about the format, about all these different reasons on why the format was bad and stale. Well, they hit one of my favorite decks and they hit a bunch of others, so let's play Digimon again.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you got to make a video about it. That's because that one guy who's always asking for Digimon videos is still always asking. So
Because I meant to make a video, but we went out of town this weekend. Because this list literally came out when we were on our way to the airport.
right, that's true.
But you know what? I will make a video.
Okay, cool. No, hey, you guys can look forward to it. I hate that I can't really contribute much to the conversation. I guess I'll just ask this to maybe bring it a bit full circle. What's the player reception of the ban list? Are people like happy, mad?
So people are mixed
mix.
on the ban list because no one can decide, or they can't agree on what cards should or should not be hit in order to neuter a strategy.
Oh, that's
And
Yu-Gi-Oh to a T.
yeah, it's like, for instance, in the yellow vaccine list, there are a lot of people who wanted the Patamon to be hit in yellow vaccine because Patamon is what makes the yellow vaccine engine good. It pretty much lets you Digivolve into champion level Digimon for free. But the Awakening of the Golden Knight card is what actually made you able to get the Magnamon. And
Yeah.
speaking of Magnamon X, people want to see that card go to 1 because it's the big scary boogeyman that wakes you up at night and scares you. But Magnamon X is, at least in my opinion, its design is exactly what it's supposed to be. I just think that its use in Yellow Vaccine was a little outside of Bandai's prediction. So I
Yeah.
always said, you hit this Awakening card so that we can't use it in yellow anymore, and I think the card's fine. Let the VMon players use it. It's their right as VMon players. Now, is it fair that VMon has an armor deck and a DNA Digivolution Imperial Dramon deck, and they just get the best of both worlds?
Yeah, this sounds like this is Alex. This is a precursor to Alex's ban list analysis video that he will definitely be making, right? Yes?
Sure.
Okay. Cool. Well, there's also a Magic the Gathering ban list, and I'm not going to actually talk about it because I don't play Magic and I don't have any analysis of it.
So yeah,
But I saw that
I
they
looked
got
at the
one.
list, and the problem is I don't know anything about the formats that the list is relevant for, so I can't really speak on any of it because I've pretty much only played Commander. Though if Standard Play returns to shops again, like in full force with their new tournament circuit, I'll be playing that format if it comes back in full force.
Yeah. I apologize to Magic players. I wish we could have more analysis on this. I thought about maybe asking Larry about it. He only plays Commander 2, so
We're a bunch of filthy casuals.
yeah. But if anyone has any like strong opinions on the ban list, I would still be glad to hear about them. If you can maybe
Yeah, throw it in the comments.
throw it in the comments or in the chat or whatever. Or also, I forgot. If you're listening to the premiere, please thumbs up the video.
One's
Leave a
up.
1. Totally forgot to mention that.
We jumped into the Yu-Gi-Oh so fast. We didn't
But
forget about y'all.
one challenge I actually have been like taking up on myself because I've been getting asked more by like family members. You know, recently I was around some family members and stuff. I've been living with family temporarily. Is like trying to put my Yu-Gi-Oh stuff into like layman's terms and like condense down major Yu-Gi-Oh concepts because it's like like you play a game and like you just played it for so long and it's just like yeah, the yellow vaccine whatever and then like yeah, then Snake Eye Ash and you go into Flamberg and you chain it and you link off and it's like I'm kind of like trying to find ways where if a family member asks me what does a ban list mean or like what's the best deck or card in Yu-Gi-Oh, like can I answer these things in a succinct way and it's that like someone can not understand Yu-Gi-Oh all in one sentence, but like get the
Oh
gist
man,
without
I'm
nerding
so
out.
glad. I'm so glad you said this because I did this very recently.
Okay.
I was trying to explain to my dad how a Yu-Gi-Oh ban list worked because he doesn't know anything about card games or really anything about Yu-Gi-Oh.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I described it was, you remember the like the Allen Iverson crossover? How it was such a dominant move and
Oh, that's a
nobody
good
could stop him when he
analogy.
used it to the point where the NBA banned the move.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's actually a good way. Because I mean, like traditional sports does have plenty actually of examples of like the rules just having to be kind of changed because a certain player or technique or just like approach to the game is too dominant. So anyway, okay, I actually have another. Were there any more card game stories by the way before?
No, no, no. I got a few gaming ones.
Okay, I'm surprised. I heard like this one story about a Pokemon card shop being like shot up again, or like some
You found
robbery.
another
But
one?
yeah, but I didn't grab the story. I figured you would because you always have a new story
So
about like
when I was looking,
violence over
I
Pokemon
thought I
shop
was
or
seeing the
something.
same story from last time, so I didn't grab it. I'm so upset.
Honestly, it's okay. We can just assume that there was violence over Pokemon cards again. It seems like it's just nothing new at this point. Okay, well, real quick, here's something interesting in gaming. The Nintendo Direct that was shown this past week, it did not get a lot of attention, but
It
it
was
was
the
a
indie one, right?
yeah, it was a Nintendo Direct Indie showcase. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of games that were sort of interesting to me. I'm not going to go through all of them because there were quite a lot. But Yakuza Kiwami is coming to Nintendo Switch in October. It's just a
Okay,
remake of the first Yakuza. I say Yakuza game.
that'll be cool.
It's kind of cool. I remember I used to play some of the what I played one of the Yakuza games on like maybe it was like Xbox 360 or PS3. So
Woo!
I'm not like super big on the series, but I just thought that that was kind of neat. There were some games that my sister's kind of into, like Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma was announced for Switch. Rune Factory is just this RPG series that it's sort of a or like RPG life simulator kind of both type of series that
Right.
she really likes. And then also Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky gets a remake on the Switch. So those are just some of the like RPGs that I saw that seemed pretty cool. And then I saw a Capcom thing, Capcom Fighting Collection 2.
Oh man, the Capcom games. I'm excited for those.
Yeah, another bundle of classic fighting games from the company's extensive back catalog with a 2025 release date. Includes everything from Capcom vs. SNK to Project Justive and Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper and Power Stone 2. So
A
each
bunch
game
of
includes
great classic arcade games.
yeah, each game includes a number of new features, including online play, and it launches on Nintendo Switch, PS4, and PC via Steam, but there's no mention of an Xbox release. So Nintendo announced that it comes to Switch digitally on September 12th and physically on November 22nd. So
Okay.
just some neat things. Tales of Grace's F gets remastered on the Switch in January. And I think, yeah, okay, that's all. That's all the games that I know about. They showed more of Dragon Quest III's HD 2D remake, but I think that that had already been announced at a
Yeah,
past Nintendo
it was
Direct.
already announced. We knew about it. I'm looking forward to replaying all the old Dragon Quests. I emulated those many years ago when I didn't know the law, but now I can play them again legally.
Yeah, so just some cool stuff at at the Nintendo Direct thing. No mention, as they said before, about like the Switch successor. So this probably wasn't anything that a lot of people were tuning into. I guess they'll let us know when they actually have details on that. But yeah, it just seemed kind of cool. If there's
You
anything
know,
that anybody else saw at the Nintendo Direct Indie Showcase, would love to hear about it.
you know what? A lot of people also weren't tuned into Foamstars, which has now gone free to play.
Oh my god, okay. So this is I'm gonna lump in another thing with this. It's not even like a story, it's more like a headline of that game Concord
Oh
doing
Lord.
terribly in its like first week of release on Steam. It had less than 700 players.
Well, Paul, I think I talked about this on the pod, and I feel only a little bad about this, but I wished Doom and Hellfire on Concord from the
Yeah,
outset.
Concord, by the
Ever
way,
since the,
being that team shooter that was like a PlayStation exclusive or PlayStation and
I was
PC exclusive
sick
team shooter.
when I saw that. When I saw that game get announced, I was unhappy. I was angry, and sadly, I'm a little glad. I know it makes me a hater, but I'm a little glad.
Yeah, so tell me more about the Foam Stars thing, though.
Square Enix announced that Foamstars, currently available on PlayStation 5 and 4, will transition to a free-to-play model beginning on October 4th. This price change marks a significant shift from the game's previous regional pricing strategy and is designed to make the game accessible to a broader audience. Notably, after the transition, players will no longer need a PlayStation Plus subscription to access the game. This means anyone will be able to download and play Foamstars for free, which means they are desperate. For those who have already purchased and downloaded Foam Stars, which I don't think it was many, before the Switch, Square Enix is offering a legacy gift. This package includes 12 exclusive color variant Bubble Beastie skins, I hated that word, an exclusive slide board design, and a special title called Legacy. Since its launch, Square Enix updated Foam Stars with season passes and additional characters. For example, a new season will start on August 30th that will bring with it an additional playable character. Ahead of its launch, Square Enix shared a song that will show up alongside the update called Golden Beats. So despite Foam Stars releasing to nobody, they're gonna make the game free to play and hope that somebody cares.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of unfortunate. I know that Square Enix made this game, so
Hey,
and
Square can flop.
yeah,
I
well
love
they've
Square, but they can flop.
they've had some troubles in the past year just with sales and stuff in general. I know, Final Fantasy 15 sold well, but not like quite up to what they wanted, and the same happened with Final Fantasy Rebirth, and that's including the fact that like Forspoken was a complete flop like last year. People hated that. Foam Stars to me, I mean, I didn't play this game, so I'm not gonna have any like hyper strong opinions on how awful it is. But it did seem like a Splatoon kind of knockoff was the vibe I got. I think it was a 4v4 sort of team shooter, territory shooter type of thing. And I hate to say it, but I think that people, when you almost lump this in with Concord, which would not surprise me if Concord goes free to play soon because it sounds like it's launched to abysmal, reception
Let's go ahead,
and just
sunset that.
interest. I think
I'm
it'll
sorry
just
to anybody who loved this game or worked on it, but
well
let's go
listen.
ahead and
I'm
let it
not
go.
hoping. I'm not, and this is my serious stance. Is I do not hope for games to be sunset and like end because I know that with that means less risk to be taken in the future. However, I will
What
say
risk?
I will say this. I think that something that the gaming industry has got to, because I get what you're saying. You're saying like what risk, and that's true actually. Concord does feel rather uninspired, especially in its genre. We live in a world where there's already a lot of team shooters and generally just persistent online games. And I think that it was likely conceived at a period of time like when Overwatch was maybe really big and stuff like that. And so it's like I think a lot of companies want in on that genre, like that, just that Apex Legends, Overwatch kind of just that crowd of people. And so they decide, oh well, we'll make our own. We'll make it like PlayStation exclusive or Sony, asked for that. So I think that this failure is probably teaching the hard lessons that it's a genre that, and maybe this is more of a hot take. It's a genre that I honestly feel like is kind of just people are getting burned out of a little bit. I
I don't
was
think people are burned out of it. I just think people have already made their picks. The market is too tight.
Yeah, the market's tight, and like you can only really like play one, maybe two at a time. So maybe burned out is not the word, but like just there can only be so many, and even the ones that are existing, people don't love. Like Overwatch is pretty popular, but like people kind of are always like, people are always hating on that, and it's just like there's so many that are supposed to be coming out. Like there's the Marvel one. I'm sure there's one that I'm forgetting, and it's like in when things are already that saturated to also charge for the game, like 39.99 or however much they're charging for like Foamstars and Concord and stuff like that. It's just you're just asking too much. I think you have to at least
Like
make the barrier to entry be pretty much non-existent, and even then, you're not going to get
the
you know.
if you're gonna make someone pay for a game, you have to be like, especially if you're gonna make someone pay for a hero shooter, right?
Yeah,
That game has to be more than what Overwatch is. And Overwatch isn't a lot. Like, and I'm not saying, oh, Overwatch's gameplay is garbage. I mean, there's not a lot to Overwatch, right? I mean,
yeah,
you load up with a group of people and you shoot at each other. You activate powers and you shoot at each other. There's not too many other game modes outside of that. You don't really have missions or story modes. There's really not much other gameplay in Overwatch. So with Overwatch 2 being free to play, it makes some sense, right? Like, why have someone pay for a game that has no features?
right. So I mean, shout out to Foamstars. At least it's not being sunset. It's just going free to play. So
Give it
like
time.
yeah. Well, I know, but like you said, maybe like last week with the Acolyte. Now there's less barrier. You can try it, right? Like if the game goes free to play, at least someone can give it
Nah,
a
they
crack.
betrayed me though. Cause how you gonna take up such a chunk of the showcase with a cinematic trailer, making me believe that this is
Oh, you're
going
still
to
mad
be
at
some
Concord.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, I get you. I mean, maybe when it
Oh,
goes
but
free
but
to
as far as
play.
like Foam Stars goes, it's I don't know too much about Foam Stars. My only issue with it was it just didn't feel like it felt like it lacked soul. And when I was looking at screenshots and video of the game itself, the it was colorful, yes, but I felt like it was still lacking personality. It felt like the character models and the world around them didn't even line up exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So I really feel like there's an extra layer of direction Foam Stars was missing in order to be its own thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, listen, I wish these games the best in the sense that like I don't like seeing people put in hard work and it just fail, but I do hope that lessons are learned and that these aren't mistakes that have to be repeated because I know people are losing their jobs over this and that's not great to hear, but
Like,
yeah.
and the annoying part is I just don't think the corporations in charge of all this are taking away the right lessons.
They're not. Like they'll just see it
Because
as do it again but next time use AI or something.
or yeah, reduce the budget next time, or oh, we just need to slap a major IP on it. We're gonna shoot for a Marvel IP. We got to shoot for Star Wars. Just attach a big IP to our garbage game, and then boom, we're all good.
I mean, that makes
Which
me wonder about like even with Marvel Rivals. Not to say that like it's
mhm.
bad or whatever, but it makes me wonder like, was it? Is it going to be like one of these like middling games, but because it's Marvel, it'll get a lot of success, and then that's just what the takeaway will be? Is
There
just
is a very real chance of that, right? Because there's a real chance that Marvel Rivals is no more than Overwatch, and in my opinion, that's a failure.
yeah.
But the Marvel branding might take it to next level anyway.
It at least
But
the Marvel branding ensures that like a lot more people will give it a try because they
yeah,
recognize the characters and so. Anywho, sorry, was there anything else about Rome Stars you had to say, or just kind of
no,
sad
no, no.
story?
We kind of got into it. We got into it.
Well, here's one more gaming thing. GameStop retro stores are opening.
I know
So
what you
there's
mean by that.
yeah, so GameStop has already some locations have kind of experimented with like buying and selling retro games, but yesterday they formally announced GameStop retro stores. Like that's what it's called, GameStop Retro. Like that's kind of the full name. They're starting to open across the United States. As the name suggests, GameStop retro stores deal in retro games. So to this end, it has NES, SNES, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, N64, DS, GameCube, Wii, Wii U, PS1, PS2, PS3, Vita, Xbox, Xbox 360, Sega Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, and Sega Genesis games. Oddly enough, there seem to be no PSP games, or at least they're not being advertised right now. But yeah, in addition to games, it's also selling hardware related to those platforms. For instance, they've got a blue color Nintendo Wii console for $69.99, or they're selling Nintendo GameCube controllers for $24.99. So there is a store locator on their website that'll tell you where the nearest GameStop retro store is, which is to say that not all GameStops are going to be doing this, but
Right.
specific ones will be like deemed a retro store, kind of like I guess like an OTS in Yu-Gi-Oh. So what do we
Look,
think about this?
if GameStop's gonna do this, they can't be doing that same mess they was pulling in the past. You're not
What's the
about
mess
to
that was
offer
pulling?
me. You're not about to offer me like $20 for my PS2 and try and flip it for 80 on somebody. That we already have retro game stores all over the country. There are ones people trust. There are people have built up relationships with them. GameStop already has like a negative connotation to it, especially in reselling.
Yeah, so the thing about these retro kind of the retro games market is that it's a temperamental one. In recent years, there's been a lot of scalping and price gouging. People just selling way above whatever I guess the accepted market value is, to the extent that it raises the perceived market value of a lot of these older games. And where will GameStop fit into that? I want to be optimistic and be like, well, okay, GameStop is a chain retailer. So that comes with some good and some bad, obviously. It means that there might be a general markup on the things themselves, but that they probably won't succumb to like outright scalping, because like big box stores kind of typically cannot do that. They can, like nothing's stopping them. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I mean, in the past, GameStop was bound by like, suggested market price.
But that's
But in
true.
retro
These
games, there isn't one.
Exactly, yeah. These are like retro games, so what a copy of Super Mario 64 or Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire or some rare old NES game, there's not really a ceiling to how much that can cost. So I hope that they are responsible with this. And I know that I'm already misplacing my faith there. It's a company. But glass half full. It's cool that it's a more mainstream location will have retro games to be dealing in retro games. So that is neat.
Right.
Like I will, I'd say
Like
that
I
that's pretty
I
nice.
feel bad for all the retro game stores that already exist because that just means GameStop is coming for you.
Yeah, and I mean
But
retro
at the
games are
same
not.
time, GameStop hasn't had a great time being competitive at anything, so maybe it's not a problem.
Yeah, it's funny because it's kind of coming off the heels of like the announcement about the Pokemon PSA cards and stuff like that. So it seems like GameStop's really just kind of trying to become like a cool collectors, a gaming collectors club type of
It
vibe.
feels like every quarter of every year we're talking about how GameStop's trying to become something else. It just
Yeah,
sounds like what those
desperation.
past stories just disappear. Like whatever happened to when GameStop was trying to be like a gaming cafe? Whatever happened to that? They still doing that? Is
I
that
don't
done?
think so.
Like
I
did
mean,
they
listen,
fail?
man, it's okay. There's again, I'm going to try to look at this glass half full. It's bad. It doesn't look good. It's not a great look. GameStop's had it pretty rough these last few years. I hate going into there and being surrounded by Funko Pops and stuff like that. But what I don't maybe, I mean, I won't rag on them too hard because they are trying. Like, some companies would just go under and that's just kind of how it is, or they get bought out or whatever. GameStop it seems like they're trying everything that they possibly can to see what sticks. Things aren't sticking so far, at least to my knowledge, but they are trying, and I think that like you got to commend them for at least that, right? Like maybe
I mean, sure.
I know,
I just find I just look. I'm
I know.
like most people. While I have fond memories of visiting GameStop as a child, my clear eyes as an adult just remembers how the GameStop kind of got over on gamers for many years.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be hard to shake those sentiments. That said, however, that said, I think what a lot of us weren't really realizing about GameStop at the time, and let me be clear. I'm not sitting here trying to like defend the corporation. I know it sounds like that and being like this apologist. I'm not. I had good
You
memories of
corporate
GameStop as a
lover.
yeah. I had good memories of GameStop as a kid, and I also had bad memories of like getting $5 for a game I just paid like $40 for. But I think that like as an adult, I've kind of seen that this is pretty much how it goes with like any major like buying selling retail business. Like now that I've been to like events, like these TCG con style events where like I've sold cards to vendors, yeah, I mean you're pretty much gonna get not a fair market value for your stuff, and it's going to be flipped. And at some point, you just kind of accept that like this is the cost that we collectively pay for such a service to exist, because like if you think about it, vendors kind of are facilitating a service that Konami is not facilitating. Like if you want a card in Digimon and Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever, like you want a specific single card, you're gonna have to like kind of get it from someone. Like you can't just manifest it out of a pack automatically. So there's kind of a convenience in being able to get the single card that you want. And someone has to, gather up all these cards, sort through them. We know how sorting cards and shipping them out and like, kind of just putting them into like an inventory and all of that. That's kind of like part of the convenience that you're paying for. And if they were to buy your card that's worth 50 from you for like $45, let's say, and then sell it to somebody else also for like 45 or $50, they just wouldn't be able to stay in business. Like it wouldn't work. Now, how low can they push that price down that they're willing to give you? Is 40 fair? Is 35 fair? Is 25? Like, you can argue that a lot, I know. But I guess I've come to realize that it was probably going to be difficult for GameStop to ever really offer great prices for games, especially games that they maybe know can't necessarily be like resold easily. So,
I mean, that's true, but that's
that,
that's the game.
yeah, that's
That
my half-hearted defense of GameStop
is like
is
it
that,
might have been a necessary evil, but they were still, at least for us, they're still
but
evil.
yeah, but they were still doing the evil, and we were the
Right?
one, yeah, yeah.
'Cause we were
Well, either way,
kids.
listen, get your retro games at GameStop soon.
Yeah.
Find your cool retro store, and you can buy some retro games. And hopefully
So
they
I want
won't
to talk
ruin
about
the industry.
something that I'm actually sad is ending for once in my
Okay.
life. So Blue Protocol is ending in Japan, which means its worldwide release is now canceled.
Okay. In brief, tell me a little bit about Blue
So
Protocol.
Blue Protocol, at least as far as we knew in the West, is a Amazon MMORPG with very good anime inspired graphics.
Yeah.
It was first releasing in Japan, and then Amazon was going to release it for us in the West. That's over now. That's over now. If because any MMO heads who've been following MMO news for like the last few years, Blue Protocol has been popping up and popping up and popping up because where everyone was anticipating its release in the West. That is not happening. Bandai Namco announced that the service will be ending for Blue Protocol in Japan, and Amazon also confirmed the worldwide release is canceled as a result of the shutdown. The
Okay.
announcement appeared on both the Japanese and English websites for the MMORPG. There is also a Japanese video going over the announcement and final roadmap. The team will continue adding new content and updating the game until it's closed down. The paid Rose Orbs, that's their premium currency, is no longer being sold, and there will be no refunds for those purchases. So too bad. Bandai Namco will give out 5,000 Rose Orbs on the first day of every month starting September 2024 and running until January 2025. So players who are already in the game are just going to get free premium currency to use. Players can get 250 Rose Orbs every day. They can also get the Season Pass for free starting with the just released ninth one. So they got 9 Season Passes in before the game shut down.
Well, they made some money, I guess. I don't know. I okay.
They
So
did.
the reason this is interesting actually to me is because my sister was telling me just last night. She plays, a lot of anime games. You can probably guess. And she was looking forward to Blue Protocol, and so she was kind of disappointed to hear that it is being canceled. So,
Yeah,
and I
I
guess I
remember.
don't. Go ahead.
So I remember watching quite a few videos and like reviews of Blue Protocol before it came out in Japan, once it came out in Japan. But it seems like the numbers just weren't there. They just
Just
weren't
weren't.
there.
Well, I don't have a lot to say about it other than, like I will say about every game, I do not like hearing about cancellations. I know it's easy to get jaded about this sort of stuff. And much like in many other industries, like just with the shooters we were talking about before, a lot of people are already set in stone with their MMOs. You play, like
Yeah.
we play Final Fantasy 14, a lot of people play like World of Warcraft. It's tough to kind of break in and be like a new player.
And
So,
ultimately, I think that the MMORPG
there's,
market has it's first off, the model of being an MMORPG I
yeah,
don't
I
think
know.
even works
It's
anymore.
barely sustainable. I feel like a lot of people who play MMOs have played MMOs. I don't think that like a lot of new people are joining in. There's too much like other just being asked to pay 10 or 15 or like maybe more a month when we've got like Steam and Game Pass Ultimate and like just the PSN Xbox Live Store. Like there's so many more like subscription things that you can pay for that give you a breadth of games. It's like tough to ask for like 15. Like sometimes I find myself wondering like, damn, I'm giving like Square Enix $15 a month for a single game. So like,
True.
you know,
But
sorry, did you have another thing you were going to say about it?
yeah, I think what killed that industry and why that model doesn't really work is the mobile gaming. Mobile gaming, namely like the Hoyoverse, Genshin Impacts, and things of that nature.
Hmm.
Games that will take up just as much, if not more, of your time, but they're also free to play. They have a
Right.
lot more social media buzz, so more people are trying and playing them. Like
Yeah.
it's tough to be an MMO right now. Like the only ones that are doing well have been around for a while. It's hard to be a new one.
Yeah, no, totally agreed. Unfortunate, but I'll tell you something else. Speaking of canceled anime projects,
Uh oh.
did you hear? Over 10 popular anime piracy sites disappear overnight in mass shutdown.
Yes, I actually had this story too.
Oh, okay, great. So, yeah, there's been a huge crackdown on anime piracy. My assumption, well, I'll just read this headline from comic book resources.
You were also on CBR?
Yeah, man. They're the only people that were like that had a good article about it. So, a crackdown on anime piracy has seen a number of extremely well-known websites being suddenly shut down en masse, with the likes of Anime Suge, Anawave, Anix, and many others disappearing seemingly overnight. Via Torrent Freak, over 10 websites, I think the list has grown now,
It
that
has.
streamed pirated anime content have now been shut down, likely following official legal or government action, while some websites are now completely inaccessible, giving no further information. Others repeat the same message verbatim, suggesting that these latter websites were run by the same head company or leadership. And notably, all websites end in .to, the country code top-level domain for the Kingdom of Tonga. So,
Huh?
like like there will be like the Russian like sometimes anime sites will end in like RU like for Russian like
Yeah.
it's like based in Russia. So I guess this is the Kingdom of Tonga was where many of these sites were based,
What
or
is the
some of them.
Kingdom of Tonga? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I'm not actually sure. I've never.
Like I don't have great like
It's a country in Oceania.
world. Oh, okay. Who would have
Yeah,
thought?
today I learned.
Yeah, I definitely learned.
Yeah, so like people on Twitter have been talking about more and more of these sites that have been going down. The message on several of the former pirate anime sites reads, it's been a long journey since insert site name first appeared. Creating better products that provide an improved user experience and fostering competition to drive the market to enhance products is something we're very happy about. Now that everything has improved, it is also time for us to say goodbye. It is difficult to part with something we've invested so much effort and passion into, but it's something we need to do. So, yeah, and then it ends with saying, like, if possible, please use legal paid services. It's something we should do to show our respect for creators and content producers. Goodbye.
You
So,
know they were forced to put that message on there to avoid like some part of a lawsuit.
yeah, so that's kind of interesting. It sounds like, yeah, they were all forced to like use the same message and use the same language and wording. But yeah, this means there's a huge attack on people who, watch their anime through these websites.
Right.
Your thoughts as a big anime head yourself?
So I've been watching legal anime for a minute now. But like most people, I was using piracy sites growing up because, well, there weren't. At one point, there were none. Like
Yeah.
there wasn't always a Crunchyroll.
Hmm.
So I grew up watching my anime. However, I had to get it, even if it was sometimes in the corner of a YouTube video, as it bounced around different corners and changed the pitch so that they could avoid copyright.
Right.
But as an adult, I think ever since I got my first paycheck, I switched over to legal anime sites since Crunchyroll and Funimation kind of covered the vast majority of what I wanted to watch. And
Right. Yeah.
there have been more and more sites getting into the anime game, so I found enough legal ways to watch anime. It's taken a huge bite out of my wallet, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I
But my
Go
thing
ahead.
is this:
Hmm.
I am on the side of the artists, and I always will be. I'm not sad to see the piracy sites go, since
Ooh, spicy take.
I'm gonna say I'm just keeping it up. I'm keeping it a buck,
Yeah. Okay.
because when these people who are working on these anime, their companies that they work for are getting false data that doesn't show just how popular their works are, because a lot of people outside of Japan are accessing their works in a roundabout manner, an illegal manner, that so that they don't get the data for it. A lot of anime may not have generated enough revenue to stick around because people weren't subscribing to the high dives, the Funimations, the Crunchy Rolls, or
Right.
wherever their shows were hosted. I mean,
Yeah. And so as a result, like, an anime might get canceled or not get a second season, or a studio might shut down
the
because they were seemingly not getting the reception, but there were people watching, but they just, it wasn't a
you know
non-monetized way,
I go
is
to
what
a
you're
lot of
saying.
conventions where they bring in a lot of like the directors and people who actually work on anime in Japan, and they're always very confused at the Western audience. They don't really understand us or what we like about their works, and I think a lot of that is because like we consume your works, but we do it in silence in ways that you can't see.
Yeah,
We don't answer a survey at the end of watching an episode because we watched it on insert watchanime.here.com.
I was gonna say, I mean, I feel like, God, I I think that there are times when anime piracy makes sense. There are certain times when, like, something might not be available on Netflix in your country, or like might not be available in your country at all, and you still want to watch it, and so like this is kind of the way to do so. So in those cases, I get it. Like, I really do. As an adult, because I can afford now to like be subscribed to services, I try to do so where I can. I mean, like, I know that's like it's a line that like everybody kind of draws in a different place. Like, some people
Yeah.
feel that Crunchyroll is being exploitative because they have done some shady business practices in the past, or maybe people don't like the way their app hasn't like been really updated very much, or they're kind of gating some anime. Like, there's a lot of reasons why you might just be like, okay, like, screw these big companies, I'm going to pirate. I'm just kind of a this is just my tenet. I don't take this as me like maybe shaming people, but I do want to just support the developers in the direct way.
Right.
I think that it's fine to, like, some people can't afford to pay for Crunchyroll subscription, or like a subscription to these things, and does that mean that they don't deserve to enjoy anime? I don't. I mean, I think that they still deserve to. I would say maybe if that's the case, I guess you maybe watch it with a friend, or like, I guess borrow a Crunchyroll account. That's, people share accounts, and how different is that? Like, if you
I
share
mean, yeah,
someone's like Crunchyroll
depending on the
account.
rules of that site, you are stealing it then too,
So
right?
like, I guess I don't want to get into too much of a, like, ethical, like, is it right or wrong? I'm just, maybe here's a better way to put it. I just pay because I can, and it's convenient. Like, I can, more conveniently just get on the Crunchyroll app and like watch things like that. But also, I know that anytime that you're using something that is, like one of these kind of Crunchyroll or one of these like anime, these pirated anime sites, you're gonna have to accept the fact that they're gonna get shut down at some point. This has just been the experience for anybody I think who's used them. I like in the past I've used them and it's like, oh, where did my website go? It's suddenly gone this week, and you know you have to find a new one, and like some have, you know,
That's just the game, right?
shady mirrors, shady ads, like you know whatever. So you're always gonna kind of be like running away from the spotlight here, the searchlight. But I don't know.
So
I'm still left with a general feeling of like this does sort of suck for anime heads, like just in the collective sense.
so recently, I ran into this issue, and so this could be like a pro piracy segment right here. I've been watching Code Geass Rose of the Revolution.
Okay.
It's a sequel to Code Geass with a new cast, and it has direct references to past Code Geass works. And I'm like, cool, because I watched seasons 1 and season 2 of Code Geass, so I should be ready. Wrong. Why? Because there were other Code Geass spin-offs in between now and then that I hadn't seen. So I watched Rose of the Revolution up until I saw a character I didn't recognize. And I'm like, wait, is that Akito? Because I recognized the name from Code Geass Akito the Exiled, which was a spin-off that came out a while ago. And I was like, okay, I don't want to watch any more of this show until I find out who this is and their story. So I went looking around, like, okay, where can I watch Akito the Exiled? Because you would think immediately, well, I can just watch this on the site that I'm on. I was on Hulu, and Hulu shares a catalog with Disney Plus. Hulu and Disney Plus did not have Akito the Exiled. And I was like, okay. Well, I know Crunchyroll has Code Geass, so I went over to Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll does have Code Geass. It did not have Akito the Exiled. And I'm like, okay, well then who has it? And then one thing was telling me, oh, Amazon Prime has Akito the Exiled. I ran over to Prime. You know what Prime told me? Not available in your location. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so is there just no legal way to watch this series? And as far as I can tell, at least in the United States, there is no legal way to watch it.
And see, that's where, you know, that is a very real like application of like
And
why
let's
you
not
would just
forget,
want
I
to.
just ping ponged around three different streaming sites that that I have to pay for all of those, and they didn't meet my need. That's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah. So, you know, listen, I still think this is probably like a net loss for anime. Like there's just a lot of anime enjoyers who will think this isn't a good thing like for them. So anyway, people I'm sure will be sounding off in the comments about this. So,
I'm sure.
you know, I look forward to hearing what people have to say about it. Please feel free to let your opinion be known. I know that this is not like one of these topics that's got like an easy right answer. I'm not trying to white knight and say that you are, you know, scum of the earth for pirating your anime. I've done it before, like in the past. So it's not, you know, it's not like that. Anyway, though, I just thought that was kind of a unfortunate little headline, but one that
Yeah.
needed some attention. I got another story.
This is my last one. This is my last story.
Okay, cool.
So you know it's got something to do with AI.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Baseball stadium hires AI-powered robot
Oh my
bartender.
god, dude! I saw this. I saw. Okay, go ahead. You have the stage. You have the stage. But I saw this.
And Adam, its name is Adam, robot bartender has been installed at the Texas Rangers Globe Life Field Stadium to serve drinks to baseball fans.
Okay.
Drinks being served at a stadium isn't anything new, but having an AI-powered robot behind the counter in charge of refreshments sure is. Adam, the humanoid AI-powered bartender robot, why am I getting tongue-tied on this?
No,
Has been
gotcha.
serving up a storm at the Globe Life Fields. The robot, developed by Nevada-based company Rich Tech Robotics, was installed on July 24th, 2024. Since then, the human-like, which, let me just be clear, human-like is a stretch here. This human-like
Yeah.
bartender has doled out over 500 drinks to baseball fans, from lemon drops to whiskey sours, just within its first week of service alone. It even wears a Texas Rangers cap, and I guess that's cool.
Yeah.
So, according to Rich Tech Robotics, Adam combines AI, advanced sensors, and two robotic arms to seamlessly emulate human actions. That's interesting that it can do it seamlessly, but we'll see. Alongside a team of human bartenders, the robot can create a range of cocktails and mocktails, which reportedly can help alleviate wait times for baseball fans. Adam is also the first humanoid robot bartender in any major league sports arena or large scale entertainment venue. However, the robot's permanent installation is the 10th one of its kind, with another having served NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang.
Okay. Well, I like the look of it. Like I think it's kind of like it's kind of cute. Like I actually prefer robots that look. I mean, it still looks like a robot, it's still a little creepy, but it's kind of got like a cute, quirky appeal to it. I like that they put the little mascot, like kind of the Rangers like jersey on it, so it's kind of branded a little bit. I think that this is actually of the terrifying uses of AI that we oftentimes talk about. This is like one of the better ones. I mean, like this almost seems like it just seems like it's useful if it can actually, like what they're saying in this article, increase like efficiency, like allow people to get their orders faster and like serve more people. Then I think this is like a good, pretty ethical application of it, I would say. I mean, what do you think? What's your read
So,
on this?
this is actually one of the few times where I like the use of robotics and AI. This is a pretty solid use of AI as a tool rather than a creative work. Is it taking a job away from more human beings? Yes, but it does have to work in conjunction with people in order to maximize its efficiency.
Right.
We're not talking about a team of robot bartenders that replace the need for human bartenders, because that would just be sad. And I don't even think, like, what is his name, Adam. I don't think Adam can actually do the job by itself that well.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose there's like always the dark future thought where it's like their ideal would be that they could only have like, a dozen of these and they wouldn't have to have bartenders, period. So there's that. But,
See, I
I
like the
still like it.
idea. I like the idea of having, like, teams work with a robot, even if it's an AI powered robot. I like the idea of humans and robots working together rather than replacing humans with
Right.
robots.
And this isn't like generative AI or something like that. This is just, it's it's helping
Perform
out.
simple tasks.
It brings me back to that one like quote that I can never actually get word for word, but it's just like I want AI to do the dishes and like do the laundry and stuff like that while I can focus on enjoying my life and creating things. I don't want AI to like create the art. I want it to just allow me to have more time to, you know what I mean? It's like that whole sentiment. So
Now, I do have some issues with the idea of like a robot bartender, just because there's a lot more that goes into bartending than just serving out formulaic drinks. And there are times when you don't serve a drink exactly as it is the recipe calls for, right?
yeah, you don't serve it to textbook.
I don't believe Adam is capable of finding nuance and moments to change recipes when like it probably cannot customize an order to a customer.
Yeah,
But
it
as
probably
far as
has to do
like
like a set list of. Sorry, go
you
ahead.
know, but as far as like serving like bog standard recipe drinks to as many people as possible, then that's where Adam shines, right? Like
And for what
it's
it's
just getting the
worth,
drinks out.
yeah, and for what it's worth, at like a sort of baseball stadium or something, that's probably the more important thing.
Because
Like, is
who's
just
looking for
people
a
are,
premium drink there?
yeah, you're just kind of looking for like something. You know exactly what you're ordering, and you just want it to be exactly what you ordered. Like, you don't need like a personal touch. So, do you have anything else on that? I had one other story.
No, this is just it's a fun story about AI and robotics working with people.
Okay, my last story is also a bit of a weird, kind of jokey story, I guess. Pizza Hut is now accepting TikTok videos as payment,
I quit.
but there's a catch. So, okay, this obviously sounded really strange to me. Pizza Hut now offers a promotion where customers can pay for their meals by creating TikTok content. That sounds really strange to me, but basically it's going to be available only in the United Arab Emirates for now. Though if it's popular, it'll probably expand to the United States and other parts of the world. The way that it works is, they say, social media is quite literally becoming a currency in today's world. So far, it's been accessible only to those who have a large following. With this promotion, we're opening up for everyone and anyone. No matter who you are, what you do, or how many followers you have, you can use your content to pay for Pizza Hut's My Box. So here's how it works. You order your My Box. You purchase a My Box meal from Pizza Hut, United Arab Emirates, from a store or through their app. You create your content where you film a creative video of yourself featuring any TikTok trend you like and a Pizza Hut My Box. So you do a little dance thing and you show that you just got a pizza and you're happy. You share it online, so you post your public video on TikTok tagging and following the Pizza Hut UAE account and with the hashtag, with the terms and conditions, and then you get a free box. Pizza Hut will send you a DM via TikTok containing a one-time promo code that can be redeemed on the Pizza Hut UAE website or app to receive a free box. So it's not like you can just infinitely do this, but you can at least do it one time and get a free Pizza Hut box.
Right.
I think that's kind of neat.
Sorry, the very first thing I thought was, I could imagine, remember the silhouette challenge?
Oh dear, yeah, someone's gonna do
Someone
this
doing that with a pizza box.
Yeah, some maybe less than savory approaches to this.
It would be very savory. I don't know. It would be savory.
I think it's kind of fun though. I mean, it's a very progressive approach to like social media marketing. Like
it's inventive. It's definitely inventive.
If this comes to the United States, you best believe I will be partake. Like I'll make a TikTok to get a free pizza.
Probably gonna hit the gritty with a pizza box.
I'll do something. I don't know. I thought it was kind of a neat little headline. I would almost like to see more restaurants doing this. I mean, it's very kind of like, hyper, like pay. It feels like it's this paid advertising in your face sort of thing. But it's somewhat organic in that like they're not like making you like write this whole contract and stuff. It seems it sort of feels like you make a video with your pizza box and it's kind of whatever you want it to be. So
I do get this slightly dystopian like feeling from such a thing. Because like, I'm just imagining a world where we actually use social media as currency, and it makes us we're existing in the real world, and we're buying real world things, but we're paying in digital engagement. There's something. There's a book or a movie in there somewhere. It's in there somewhere. Should I write it? Maybe I will write it.
Yeah, so cool thing. All right, so anyways, that's all the stories. We're going to get right into the pot of greed questions. The reason I'm rushing this so much, if you might be wondering,
got a tournament.
I've got a tournament that's starting pretty soon, and they're doing like check-ins and stuff right now. So,
God.
4 questions. I've already checked in, but
Oh, okay.
I've got 4 questions from 4 fans. Remember, you guys can submit these at the link in the description, and we always love to hear them. Here's the first one. Do you think that the collaborations Yu-Gi-Oh has with other companies and IPs, like the Adidas shoes and the Hello Kitty collab, would make for good prizes when winning a tournament?
I'll say yes. However,
okay,
those aren't collaborations made with Konami.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that they would maybe be the best. Like, it'd be cool to have exclusive Yu-Gi-Oh sneakers as maybe like a prize for winning an event. I think that sounds awesome. I just know the objective of collaborations like that is always growth and like expansion for both brands or parties involved. Like whenever, like if they make like the Yu-Gi-Oh High Ground keyboards, that's like a random example I know about. The goal for High Ground is, okay, Yu-Gi-Oh fans will come over to us and buy this keyboard because it features Yu-Gi-Oh things that they like. And so for Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess there's not like a big benefit for Yu-Gi-Oh. People already kind of know what it is. But like, I think that a company maybe wouldn't want their collab product to be strictly limited to like about a dozen people on the planet.
Well, I don't think that they're talking about limiting the products.
I like the concept.
Right?
Like I think that there's something there.
Because I view it as much the same way as like Konami giving away Switches. This isn't the only way to get a Switch. It's just one of our prizes.
I wouldn't say no to like an exclusive set of Yu-Gi-Oh sneakers,
but
maybe.
Those collaborations aren't even done with Konami. They're done with like
true.
4K media and stuff. So
that would say they couldn't try to shake some hands and make it still be the prize though.
I don't want to be a negative Nelly, but it seems like with all parts of the Yu-Gi-Oh brand working together has been kind of the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh.
Well, either way, that question by the way came to us from Aji Hibachi. I hope I'm not butchering that too badly.
Aji Hibachi?
Yeah, but thank you for the question. I would say I kind of prefer collabs to be accessible to everybody else, to all people, because it's
I
more
mean, I
exciting
still
that
don't
way.
think
But
that. I don't think they're talking about those collabs being exclusively Yu-Gi-Oh! Pricing.
yeah, but I guess if they weren't exclusive, then we'd still probably just find ourselves in the same little prize debacle we're always in. Of although okay, sorry, you're right though. Throwing them into the prize pool as well would be great.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to that. Okay, next question is there music from Yu-Gi-Oh related media that means something special to you and takes you back to a moment in time? Context for memory, my example would be the Free Duel theme from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories game. It really takes me back. I actually have used that theme in a video recently. I won't spam a bunch of examples, but it could be anything: English or Japanese tracks, games, special music discs, things like
Music to duel
music to duel
by.
by. I knew you were gonna say music to duel by. You and Alex had a lot of. You guys like had the VHS or the DVD or the CD or whatever with
Yeah,
that.
we had like was it a DVD? We had some type of a video media thing with music to duel by on it, and we listened to it many times.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite track from music to duel by?
Oh man, I want to say "Face Up, Face Down," the
Yeah.
Pegasus song.
Yeah. I. You guys actually sing that randomly, so I know
Yeah, we
it's.
do, we do.
I'd say for mine, a lot of the stuff from the Four Kids, like I know that that's like a general answer, but all that stuff that Four Kids made to promote Yu-Gi-Oh originally, I think it is so underrated, and like people like it, but like I think it's still underrated, in that people do not understand how far a lot of those songs and like just motifs went to establishing Yu-Gi-Oh in the West. Because when I hear like the Egyptian God card theme, the Exodia theme, Summon Your Dragon, and I think that was another one from Music to Duel by. Those just bring me back just to my childhood. I love them, and like Yu-Gi-Oh would sound and feel different without some of those really iconic themes. It's like the same as how like Dan Green and like Eric Stewart are Yu-Gi-Oh to some degree. Like it's a small scale example, but I almost would compare Dan Green to like kind of what Robert Downey Jr. is to Marvel. It could exist without him, but it's that voice and that
We see how
presence.
far they got.
Yeah, so a good question. Next question is low again. I guess this is about a person who's already left a question before. What do you consider to be the most valuable or worthwhile packaged Yu-Gi-Oh product to purchase? Most booster packs have too much filler to be reliable. Structure decks are fun, but there are only so many. Are there any products that are worth buying for the average player to have some fun with? Love the show. Thanks for all that you do.
Man, that's tough.
Okay, here's my answer is buy a speed duel box. If you want something that just the average player can buy and have some fun with, I think it can work great with friends.
Yeah, the speed duel boxes do make for guaranteed value and have decent replayability, and then you have expansions on top of them. So
Yeah. I
as
think the
far as
anything else, I mean, maybe like rarity collections. Maybe you want to have fun with rarity collection though, because it's not really like a draftable thing. So
but it is a you get a predictable amount of value from rarity collection that you just don't see in other Yu-Gi-Oh sets.
well, I guess their question was more like to have fun with, not so much to get value from. Oh, the retro packs that just came out. That
Oh
would actually,
yeah, the
if
ones
you
we
can get
can't
it, if it's not
find.
being scalped. Yeah, if it's not being scalped and you can get your hands on it, I think that would be great to draft with. Like we were mentioning, we were planning on doing a little retro draft.
Yeah, we
So
were actually looking at the card list in Retro Pack, and we were just like, wow, as far if you're like an anime fan, there's just nothing but hits in here. Just it's a good set for anime fans.
yeah, so I would say speed duel boxes. Maybe if you have some friends, or retro pack would be a good one to just open and enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question comes from Basic Nerd. This is more of a
A
rant than a question. I was listening to a podcast that went to Gen Con. Alex went to Gen Con.
yep.
They kept bringing up how a lot of people they talk to play Magic, and how there are all these different formats and ways to play it, and it can be this fun and casual game with friends and so on. Just made me frustrated that Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have that support from Konami. It feels like such a waste that it doesn't exist that way for Yu-Gi-Oh because we have the nostalgia appeal from the anime. One of the people in the podcast even mentioned how they loved ripping packs as a kid and tried to play Yu-Gi-Oh once when they were older, and it was a nightmare. I just feel like not having multiple formats that are sanctioned and supported by Konami is a disservice to the player base. I'm going to co-opt this and just say, yes, you're completely right.
I get that. I don't think Brayson never lied yet. That's
This
a,
is, yeah. Sorry, what do you? I mean,
I mean, yeah, it's just yes.
this is, I
The
this is
Yes.
the thing. Like, this is the conversation that has been super prevalent on this podcast and Yu-Gi-Oh in general for the last couple of years. Is this godforsaken game needs alternate formats? There's, I am past hating advanced format. I don't think that it's like awful. It's just that we need alternatives. We need low power formats that let you still play new stuff. We need kind of old school things. We need draft back. Rotation would be great. There's a bunch of options. I'll say what I always say. Grab some speed duel boxes and have some fun with that. Maybe try out domain format. But for Konami, I agree, they got to do a little bit better with supporting. Like they have like the heart of the underdog thing, but they don't really want to like reach too deep into it and like embrace it. It feels so. I don't know. I just
Right.
we could use a little bit more. Like I said, I talked to some people at the convention, and they kind of said the same thing. Is for like the modern,
I don't really have much more to add either. That's just
yeah, the modern game's kind of taken people by, and if there was something that let them get back to that, it'd be good. But Konami, right? What do you do? Anyway, okay. So that is all the questions.
But on that note, that's our last question.
Yeah, sorry to run through them so quickly, but there's just, gotta get ready for this tournament. Also, so real quick, Alec, any media or thing that you have enjoyed engaging on this past week? One sec, can you hear me? Hold up. Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I could tell it was going out. Okay, yeah. So any major thing that you have watched this week, real quick? Any show, movie,
So
game,
my
book?
recommendation this week is an anime that Alex actually suggested that we watch. We watched it while we were in New York. It's called The Fable.
Oh, very good one.
It's
Yes.
Yeah, it's about a quirky, clearly neurodivergent hitman in the Japanese underground, and he's kind of a genius savant when it comes to killing, but
He's
he
forced
doesn't
to-
really have any like communication skills or anything else outside of that.
Yeah, he's kind of forced to live a normal life or
Yeah,
try
for
to.
1 year, he has to take no killing for a year, has to live a normal life. And you
It's very
see
fun.
how he just adapts to what that's like and how hard it is for a natural trained killer to not kill. It's really good, surprisingly. The characters are wonderful.
Yeah, there's some. I won't. Yeah, we won't spoil too much of the funny quirks that some of the characters have, but they're there.
There was a
100%.
moment where I made a life decision while watching that anime. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm good. Maybe
It's
I
also
don't need to do this.
It's also another example of one of those anime that's super obscure. Like it's on what, like Hulu or something?
Yeah, it's like a Hulu and I think Disney Plus as well.
Yeah, felt very.
So I don't think
buried.
anyone really knows about it, but
A very
it's
buried
good.
anime.
It's good.
All right. Well, my recommendation for the week is going to be the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie trailer that just dropped. It's as
Is
you
it
guys
good?
know. Yeah, it's very good. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. The movie is going to be releasing on December 20th. The trailer is super hype. It features Shadow. It looks amazing. I will be there. That's all I can
Should
say.
I watch this trailer if I didn't see the second movie?
I think that you honestly could. Like, it's not, these movies aren't super duper, chronological in the sense that you have to watch them. And Shadow's your favorite Sonic character, right?
Yeah, I mean the only Sonic character, but yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Then you should definitely watch it. You'll enjoy it. So check that out. All right, we got to end this podcast fast because I got to get ready for this tournament and check in.
All right, guys.
All right, so
And we
hopefully
will
you guys,
see you guys in the next one.
yeah, enjoyed it. Sweet. Pass turn.